My name is Beukelman. I'm with CMBA Architects, and I've been an architect for 11 years now. My role in the Sioux City High School project was a lead architect and lead educational planner. I was surrounded by a great team, but we started this project 3 years ago, just in the planning phase, and we've moved it to completion today. When we first started this project, we met with the district, and the whole district was being pinched for space, and we needed a solution that solved the district-wide problem, not just a facility problem or a grade level problem, but we needed a solution that solved it for all of their buildings. And the best solution at this time, and for the next 20 years for their bonding capacity, was to kind of put all their eggs in one basket and to develop a new facility that alleviated space. So when we reconfigured the grade levels among their existing buildings, it opened up growth in all their facilities with the new high school. The reason the school went with the construction management option was it was a very large project. It had complexity, it had scheduling, they wanted to be able to use local contractors, and there was no contractor in the area that could really handle that capacity. So the best thing to do was to break it down into bid packages and to make it palatable for all those companies. And that was achieved by getting about 70% of the contractors to stay local here on the Sioux Center project. I have not had any experience until this project. It was my first project experiencing a CM agent or a CM at risk. When we first started, I had a little bit of hesitancy about a CM. Right, I didn't fully understand what they were about, what they were going to do. I thought they were going to control the project, kill the design, right? And as an architect, that's pretty valuable, the concepts and things like that. So it was an unknown at first, and trying to wrap my head around what that additional role looked like, because typically it was something that we as architects just did, and we did it all. But so there was some hesitancy at that time. So unfortunately on this project we didn't bring the CM on in its best time. We brought them in kind of almost at the end of SD and into DD, into the design development phase, and so we had to hit the ground running with Carly Nelson, and it was pedal to the floor, and we were all just kind of getting used to each other, but we had to get used to each other in a very fast environment, and so that just led to an expedited level of trust, because we just had to trust each other's numbers, we had to trust each other's opinions on design and how things would go. So we learned to get along with each other really fast. Yeah. So the relationship with Carly Nelson, and specifically Nick Liston and Marcus DePalma, it was great. It just only got better as time went on. The more we trusted each other, the more comfortable we got with each other, the more in-depth discussions we could have, the more honest discussions we could have with each other, and the back and forth of this is what we're trying to do from a design standpoint, how can we get there from a construction standpoint. Just a lot of great opinions and back and forth occurred, and only got stronger as the project went. They brought a level of just multiple expertise. Their attention to detail during construction, their phasing, and then their accuracy in budgeting was a huge benefit to the success of this project, and keeping things communicated with the owner and what they can afford, what they couldn't afford, and then also their collaboration with the architect, and how well they work together in trying to preserve what the architect is trying to do from a design standpoint and education standpoint, and they just really respected that and tried to work with us in a way that achieved that, but in a cost-effective way. Yeah, moving forward on any project of this size or even smaller or bigger, I can't imagine doing it without a construction manager. Just the expertise that they bring from a construction side of things is invaluable for an owner, for a district, and for, I'd say, the design and for the architect. It makes the team stronger, and it makes sense on certain projects. Bringing the CM on board would have been earlier, and probably at the beginning of the project would have streamlined our process quite a bit. It would have, we were obviously over budget once we got that first initial budget back in the middle of design development, and I can only imagine having the CM on board, giving us cost feedback earlier so we can design it accordingly from the beginning, rather than putting a design out there, getting a budget, scaling back, putting it out there, getting a budget, scaling back. But instead, we can attack the design incrementally and make the decisions from an educated standpoint of what that's going to cost us. So bringing them on board earlier only makes sense. Yeah, I think bringing the CM on board in general for any project earlier rather than later only builds trust that much quicker for a project. It keeps maybe some of those frustrations of latching on to a certain design aspect or keeping expectations in line the whole way through a project. Only makes sense for the industry to have a CM on board earlier rather than bringing them in later.